I didn't really have a childhood. I just kind of had to grow up real quick, real fast, because I had to take care of my little brother, because, you know, we're in the system having to bounce around and it's constantly changing around us. So I had to keep him safe and I had to keep myself safe. And I had to make sure that we weren't just gonna be like, I had to make sure we were gonna sleep somewhere the next night, basically. When we got separated, it was one of the hardest things for me. Like, I cried for like 3 days. There was one point on his birthday a year ago, I was at work and I had to go to the bathroom just because I had to start bawling because I had missed it. I felt horrible because I'd always been there for him and I always got him something. I'd always do something for him on his birthday, and I always felt bad that I didn't get to do anything. It's a lot harder when you separate siblings. It does a lot of damage to them.
One of our favorite things about living on a Circle of Care campus is the community that it provides. Our neighbors, we did not know them when we moved here. They became great friends. It was just so nice to have somebody so close to you that was walking the same path as you, that understood the ups and downs, that it was a safe place to kind of talk. It was a safe place for our kids because they knew that the other adults around them understood and they weren't gonna pry into their stories, but they were gonna support them and love them just the same. And you know, for our kids, it was nice because they didn't feel alone, because it wasn't like this singled out, like, oh, I'm the foster kid. Like, you're in a community of them and it's kind of the norm and it's okay. And then you go to school and you already have these friends and you have familiar faces. And it was just a huge blessing to us to have such great people next door and to just be in that community.
At the current time, we have 12 children in our home. There will be 6 under 6. We have 2 large sibling groups. This is not the usual practice. However, one of the 2 sibling groups we had is a group that was reunified and had to return to care, and the state system likes them to go back to a stable placement, and we were the last stable placement for the children, so we took them back into care. So for that group, for the youngest ones, we are the only placement they've ever had outside their home.
And the only way that we're able to maintain this large number of kids is the support that we receive through Circle of Care.
And community foster living in a foster care community.
When going into foster care, it kind of feels like you're alone. But when you have your siblings, it's not as bad. But if you take someone's sibling away, someone's trust, someone's love, someone's bond, it kind of leaves them broken and sad, and it just gets really rough.
I think that a lot of people are very scared of what it's like to love a child and see them go home, because they're worried about the pain that they might feel or how hard it must be. And our outlook starting off was always that we're adults, you know, we have resources, we have lived life and kind of know how to control our emotions and manage our emotions. And we know the pain and joy and the give and take of that. And these are kids. And so to us, it always seemed kind of selfish to be worried about our own feelings while there's kids without homes.
The most memorable placement was about 3 years ago. We had a young man that needed a place to stay. When the state called me and asked me to take him on, he had been through several placements, 14 or 15 different placements, and was having a rough go at it. He had a pretty traumatic childhood. He was 12 years old, and I agreed to take him on for about 6 weeks. The placement wound up lasting 6 months, and it was a very long and challenging 6 months. However, in the end, he got to be reunified with his family. It was his final placement in foster care, and he's doing well, and we are still connected to this day.
For us, the biggest challenge of fostering is, I would say, the community's lack of knowledge of foster care. They have a preconceived notion of who we are as foster parents. They have a preconceived notion of who our kids are as foster kids, which we don't care for that term a lot. We always call them our little foster loves. But they just have this idea that, you know, foster kids are mean or scary or dangerous.
Or they always say, oh, you guys are saints. Like,
yeah, they think
that one just like gets under my skin, of them saying like, oh, you guys are such saints for doing this. Like, no, I mean, we're just normal people.
Normal people loving normal kids.
Yeah.
You know, to us it seems crazy that people have all these like ideas that are so not true. If you break it down, like, we are normal people and these kids are normal kids that need somewhere to stay, and we have the space, and thanks to Circle of Care, even more space than what we previously had in the home that we owned, and we love to open our home to those kids. They don't have anywhere to go, and so to us it's crazy that everybody doesn't understand it that way.
We try to connect as much as possible with the birth parents and know that we are able to make that connection, that when they do leave, we haven't lost them forever, that we're able to still maintain contact and see them. And to this day, I still have contact with my very first placements and keep updates, whether it be through Facebook or phone calls and text messages, but maintaining the connections is where we fall most definitely.
So we really haven't said goodbye to any of our kids.
There's a lot of rewards to fostering. One, fostering in a Circle of Care home, the home is basically provided for you. The support group is provided for you. You get built-in neighbors, kind of like what Kristen said earlier. You have someone to talk to, and they understand and relate to you. Some of my favorite parts of fostering is seeing kids go home, to a healthier home, to see their parents work their plan to succeed, and how excited that their kids get because their parents succeeded. That's pretty cool to see.
Each group of kids that you have come through your home everybody is going to have a different set of issues. You're going to get some kids that may have, a laundry list of different things that they need help with.
And with the right support system around you and the right mentality going into it, you just take those issues just like you would your own children's issues, one day at a time, one issue at a time, and work through them.
And living on the ranch, you have a few extra support networks around you that if you see a child in need and that needs, a different type of support around them, we're able to get it faster than typically other people are.
And then we have the support of each other to get to discuss those issues with, and sometimes a child will respond better to one adult than another, and so we get to tag team that way as well, living in a community.
Well, it starts one child at a time, one person at a time. You don't have to be a mom and dad to foster. You can be a single mother, you can be a single father. Those type of situations, it always starts with one person. And that's kind of, one child at a time. If everybody fostered one child that could foster a child, there wouldn't be a need for group homes. There wouldn't be a need for DHS to get their hands in foster care.
About the only advice I could give to anybody who's wanting to start fostering or would consider campus-based fostering is I can tell you from personal experience that I value the experience of those in this community around me, experiences that I may not have had, and I think that a lot more foster parents would be a lot more successful if they started in community-based fostering, and those who are still new in it and know that they want to do it but they're struggling with it should strongly consider moving to a foster community where that help and that advice is so readily available, because we can share so much and we've all had so many different experiences that when you put them together, you can come up with some pretty strong game plans pretty fast.